All right, good morning. I'm Specialist Missy. Today we'll be talking about levels of leadership. Overall risk assessment this morning's very low, climate controlled room. We do have tripping hazards, but as long as we all stay in our seats, we should be good to go. Also, make sure if you're going to use the bathroom, you exit this door, go that way. Fire hazard, you would head this way out the front door next to the flagpole. So we'll get started. Like I said, our topic today is levels of leadership. You can see the Venn diagram behind me, which I will go over at the end of this presentation. But for now, we're going to work through our slides and try to hit everything. First thing you need to know about levels of leadership is you have direct, organizational, and strategic. I will cover more, but just to get you on page, direct is myself speaking to my NCO. Organizational, biggest thing to think about that is battalion. That's battalion level, speaking down, pretty much planning everything. And then you got strategic. Usually don't see many people in that plan. If you do, you see the name on a paper telling you what to execute after it's already been planned. So we'll speak a little bit more about that at the end, but we'll get started. All right, the importance of military leadership. Effective leadership is characterized by character, presence, and intellect. These three areas enable a leader to earn the trust and respect of his peers, subordinates, and superiors, and achieve the organization's desired goals. So, I mean, it's pretty plain and simple. A military leader, if he upholds those values, most plans are going to go well. Leadership communication. I'm going to hit some examples after, but pretty much it's a chain of command is an aspect of organizational structure that is meant to show a clear line of responsibility from top position to the bottom. A chain of command established that everyone knows where they should report to and what responsibilities are expected at that level. So, I mean, we've all experienced, good communication within the military and bad communication. Some good references for me is when you show up to a range at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's not even hot till 9. It doesn't even open till 9, and that's where it came down to chain of command. Everything wasn't clear on times. Everybody was trying to save their butts on when they should be there. Another aspect of good communication would be like, when you're headed to the chow hall at night, most people, get there and have to wait outside. Good chain of command will have everything set up where chow is ready. You can move through the line, and that's earlier you get back to the barracks. So there were just a few small examples of communication within leadership. Sometimes it can be very smooth, sometimes it can be bad, but it's direct representation of all your NCOs and officers within the unit. So. Alright, we're going to hit hard on direct leadership. So like I said before, direct leadership is strictly an under-enlisted NCO speaking directly to someone within their unit. Most of the time when you think of direct leadership, you can think of accountability, first line leaders, like if you need to go to somebody for absolutely anything, that's who you go to. That's even considered via email, text, or just in person, that's someone you can go to. The definition for direct leadership is the work of first line supervisors, whether they're corporals, captains, or colonels, is about a face-to-face communication. So it clearly applies at the tactical level in teams, squads, sections, or platoons, and even batteries and battalions and squadrons. Alright, next we're going to hit on organizational leadership. The definition for that is it occurs at levels from battalion through corps within the military. At director through installation level for military and civilian leaders, and at assistant through unsecretary levels. Organizational leadership, when I think of it, you think more of state. You think of, biggest thing I think of is like a bonus, There's someone working on it or someone planning it, but you don't hear too much about it. The only time you hear about it is when it's executed. So when it comes down from organizational level to direct level, it's ready to be executed. It's been planned, it's been thought out. Nothing really needs to be made other than execution. And like I said, that's just the upper level. Next, we're going to hit on strategic leadership. Definition for strategic leaderships are military at the major command through Department of Defense levels. Strategic leaders are responsible for large organizations and influence several thousand to hundreds of thousands of people. And so When I think of strategic leadership, I think of bigger picture. One example I always try to hit on is the ACFT. So of course everybody's doing it now, but when that first started, it was planned at the very top level. You know, it came down step by step through the chain of command, but it never took effect until strategic level of leadership acted on it. Like I said, at this level, everything is thought out. It is put in a thought almost, put to the organization level where it is planned, and by the time it makes it to the direct, it's executed. All they do is pretty much think. The small execution they make is pushed down for, the other levels to do. Summary of what I talk about. Overall, I think each level is what allows the process to run functionally and smoothly. Mind you, if everything works right, that's how it's supposed to go. If one of these levels were not to exist or lack in a specific task, it would result in dysfunction. Like I said before, each level has a specific task. If that task is not met, the overall goal and mission then will not happen, or at least it won't happen the correct way. Before we get done, I'm gonna hit on this Venn diagram up here. Like I covered before, strategic is more of the thinking process. They put everything into effect from the beginning. Then it makes it to the organization level, which is planned. They put everything on paper, make sure everything's gonna flow correctly. And then my level, I consider the direct is the execution process. That's when everything is put together and pushed through. So, like I said, you have your colonels, your general command sergeant majors, all the bigwigs that'll make everything happen. They push it down to battalion. Battalion make sure, there's no faults in the plan. And overall, that's your first line leaders who execute it. But in all, one thing they all have alike is they're all for the bigger mission. Everybody's in for it, and everybody wants to make sure everything flows okay and it gets done. Now that I've covered pretty much all three levels of leadership, and we're going to go into questions. One of the questions I have is, how has leadership affected you? Is communication through leadership miscommunicated at times? Because I know I've experienced that myself. And what level of leadership impacts your career the most? Since I don't have an audience today, one of the big things I want to hit on was the last question. What level of leadership impacts your career the most? Mine right now would be direct, because without good leadership, first line leaders, solid NCOs, my career wouldn't be where it's at today. So, then people will go to you every day, make sure you're all right, accountability, and overall, plan your entire career from the start. So, is there any other questions? All right, I think we're gonna wrap that up. We're gonna do an AAR if anybody's got any improvements, sustains, anything we can do. All right, in conclusion, that'll be it. Risk assessment is still low, climate control room, just tripping hazards on the way out, and thank you.